Hi, I'm Todd Newton. Welcome to beautiful Charleston, South Carolina. I have always loved this city. It's where charm and history come together, and every cobblestone street has its own story to tell. It's the ideal day to do a little exploring. So once again, welcome to Charleston and welcome to the Tattooed Traveler. A city like Charleston has a lot to be proud of. It's home to the first museum in the United States. It's famous for its architecture, particularly those Georgian row houses. The historic district here is one of the largest in the country. The culinary scene will make your mouth water, and it's surrounded by beautiful beaches like Folly Beach, Isle of Palms. But things haven't always been this picture perfect. You know, when you travel as much as we do on this show and you explore and you learn, you realize very quickly that not all of history is glamorous, not even close. And our first stop here in Charleston represents what is one of, if not the greatest and most repulsive stains on American history. This is the Old Slave Mart, now the Old Slave Museum. This museum is a powerful reminder of Charleston's complex history. It was built in 1859 and served as one of the city's largest slave auction markets until the Civil War ended in 1865. Today, visitors like you and me can explore the museum to learn about the harsh realities of the transatlantic slave trade and the resilience of those who endured it. Now, out of respect for you, the viewer, I just want to warn you that some of the things you're going to see inside you may find disturbing. It may shock you, but it is educational as you learn the stories of enslaved men, women, children who were bought and sold right at this very site. This model shows us exactly what the slave mart would have looked like back in the mid-1800s. You can see the yard there, and in the back, what was essentially a prison. Now, as we go up to the top floor and work our way down, you're going to see artifacts, exhibits, and actual items like this that come to us straight from the darkest chapter in America's history. For instance, this ankle shackle that was used on slaves, typically made of iron, just made it more difficult for the wearer to escape. But really, they were dehumanizing, cruel forms of restraint. This whip, look at that. And the story of a young man who watched his own grandmother being beaten by the slave owner with an item, a weapon, just like that. Here's a branding iron that slave owners used on their enslaved individuals to mark their ownership, claim their ownership, branding them like cattle. Slaves here in the South were subjected to brutal treatment, forced to work in the fields from dawn till dusk under the watchful eye of their masters. And as you can see here, families were just torn apart. Husbands and wives, parents and children, just sold to the highest bidder, never to see each other again. You can see here that in addition to physical punishment, psychological punishment was prominent, instilling fear, requiring complete submission. I will say, this chart is very interesting. It reveals the different categories of slaves and what they would have been worth in 1850 and the equivalent in dollars today. This price table shows that the most desired age for a male when a buyer would pay top dollar was right around 20 years old. I must say that the people of Charleston, South Carolina, do not sweep the issue of slavery under the rug. They address it, and they hope to use that period in time to educate people. I want to take you now to an area here on East Bay Street called Rainbow Row. These beautifully preserved historic homes painted in an array of pastel colors stand as a testament to Charleston's rich architectural heritage. They were originally built back in the 18th century, but these homes have been lovingly restored, and they now serve as a charming reminder, I would say, of Charleston's storied past. Definitely a popular destination for visitors and locals. And right on the corner here is, get this, the oldest liquor store in America. This is the Tavern on Rainbow Row. And the tavern here has been slinging booze since 1686, over 300 years. And look at this sign. The folks inside are friendly, knowledgeable, and sober. They tell me the floors and the walls, for the most part, are all original. Now, it's important to know that back in the 17th century, the waters off the coast of Charleston were plagued by notorious pirates like Blackbeard, who roamed the seas searching for treasure and adventure. And Charleston here became a hub for pirate activity, taverns and brothels catering to the lawless crews who called the city home. And those swashbucklers, and yes, I've always wanted to use the word swashbucklers in a Tattoo Traveler video, would drink at places like this. Now, over the course of its 300-plus year run, the tavern has gone through its share of owners and names, been called many different things, but it has never stopped selling alcohol, not even during Prohibition. By the mid-18th century, Charleston had become a bustling trade center, and it was, mainly because of rice and indigo, the wealthiest and largest city south of Philadelphia. And today, about 30 people move to Charleston every single day. And who wouldn't want to live here with an average of 230 days of sunshine every year, a vibrant nightlife, a great art scene, history, culture? It's right on the water, and the shopping is great. You saw some of the high-end shops. Well, take a look at this. This is the historic City Market. It's been around since the 1790s, one of the oldest city markets in the USA. 4 city blocks long, local vendors selling artwork, clothing, food items, jewelry. And it's just a block or two away from what is probably the most historic building here in Charleston, the Old Exchange and Provo Dungeon. It was built in 1771, and this building has served many purposes throughout history. It was a customs house, a market, a meeting place, even a prisoner of war facility during the American Revolution. Dungeon, is probably a more accurate term. Those who were held here were held in harsh conditions, often getting one measly meal a day, sleeping on cold stone. But we're talking about some pretty rough characters here, men and women, prisoners of war, pirates, thieves, murderers. And it's rumored to have been the site of executions, torture, and other gruesome practices. Now, as we head back upstairs, you get a good look at the South Carolina flag there. That is a palmetto tree on the flag, and the state chose the palmetto tree as a powerful symbol of South Carolina's resilience and determination in the face of adversity, and it has certainly had plenty of that over the centuries. You remember I told you that the Old Exchange building here has served many purposes during its history. Well, I was fascinated to learn that the Declaration of Independence was first read publicly right here on August 2nd of 1776. After the Continental Congress in Philadelphia adopted the Declaration of Independence, of course, on July 4th of 1776, it was decided that the document should be read aloud to the public to announce the colony's break from British rule. And it was read right here in the Great Hall. And when you visit, you, my friend, have the opportunity to sign the Declaration of Independence. And come on, who's going to miss out on that? Not this guy. And I took a page out of John Hancock's book, Make Your Signature Bigger Than All the Others. A combination ticket for the Old Exchange building here and the Old Slave Mart Museum will cost you $19 for an adult admission. Well worth it. Charleston is often called the Holy City. A couple of reasons. There are over 400 churches here in town, and Charleston has a long history of religious tolerance and diversity, various faiths coexisting peacefully here. This is St. Philip's Church. Founded in 1860, It has always stood tall through centuries of change, challenges. Its steeple that you saw a moment ago has become a symbol of Charleston's skyline, and the churchyard, the burial ground here, is the final resting place of quite a few prominent figures in Charleston's history, some statesmen, soldiers, and other notable individuals. Many of these tombstones date back to the 16th century. This one, look at that, 1759. As we begin to wrap up our visit to Charleston, South Carolina, let's talk food. Oh, sure, you can find all the top-named chefs here. You can always find she crab soup or shrimp and grits. But I love a good dive bar. You know, a place with a lot of character and with tens of thousands of dollar bills stuck to the floor, the ceiling, the fireplace, the ceiling fan, even covering the restrooms. This is the Griffin. And each bill is signed by folks who have visited the Griffin from all over the world. Southern Living magazine called the Griffin unapologetically awesome, and I'm not going to argue. It's voted Charleston's best pub pretty much every year. They're known for their fish and chips, but I went for that Southern Reuben with a side of tater tots. To me, that's eating. If something's got you down, just spending the day here at the Griffin around good people with a side of tater tots, this makes it all better. Absolutely love Charleston, South Carolina. I love it. Perfect place, and I'm glad you were here for this adventure. Hey, if you're not a first-class member already, today would be the perfect day to join. I mean, come on, the weather doesn't get any better, right? Click join below, and as a first-class member, you get exclusive access to content no one else sees, behind-the-scenes footage, destinations that are only available to first-class members, and my favorite, personalized shout-outs. So make sure you join today. And today's also a great day to grab your brand new Tattooed Traveler t-shirt or hoodie or luggage tag. We've got them all for you in the Tattooed Traveler store. You can click on the link below and shop away. Lots of good stuff waiting for you. I'm Todd Newton, and until you and I meet again a little further down the road, travel safely.